To speak more about the Ceylon Photography Awards, I have Lakshitha Karunarathne, who is someone who is well known when it comes to going out there and capturing the best when it comes to wildlife.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
So, wildlife photography is actually lots of work.
Lots of work in the field. Basically, you have to do the planning before you go there. That's very important, and then you should do your homework about the species you're going to get, and then what sort of things you will encounter, because it's you can't control any of those.
True.
So yeah, a lot of work, lot of homework you have to do.
Now, wildlife photography is now, of course, has become so developed with lenses that can see through the world.
Exactly.
Does that sort of cripple the passion for wildlife photography? Because those days, wildlife was you are in the midst taking pictures.
Yeah, it's like this. Even though you have a super telephoto lens, let's say 400, 600 or 800 millimeter lens, it's the creativity, right? So you can have all the best lenses and best cameras in the world. Then, like, if you can do good wildlife photography only with that, we will have all the billionaires and millionaires doing wildlife and getting awards and all that. It's not that. It's completely different. You have to have a lot of creativity. You should think differently, because a lot of people take same, profile picture, profile in the sense like you take only the profile of the species. You take, so many people take the same thing, and there is one guy who takes something else.
The action or the moment.
Action or the moment, or maybe some, ultra close something, eye or something like that. And that stands out. Yeah, that's the difference. You have to think differently. You have to think out of the box. That's very important.
All right. Wildlife photography ගැන පොඩ්ඩක් දැනගන්න ඕනේ. කොච්චර කට්ටිය මේ wildlife කියන්නේ මේ පැත්තට විතරක් ඉන්නේ?
මේමයි. දැන් ඕනම genre එකක් මම මේක හැම්බලන් කියන දෙයක් කරද්දි අමාරුයි. වෙඩින් හරි wildlife හරියට කරද්දි අමාරුයි. ඉතින් wildlife දැන් අපි අනිත්‍යවත් කරන ගමන් wildlife කරන අයත් ඉන්නවා. හැබැයි wildlife විතරක් කරන කට්ටිය ටිකක් අඩුයි. උදාහරණයක් මම නම් wildlife විතරයි කරන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ මම අනිත්‍යවත් try කරලා තිනවා හරියන්නේ නැහැ. මම try කරලා තියෙනවා street photo ගන්න හරියන්නේ නැහැ. ඊළඟට මම try කරලා තියෙනවා මේ portraits ගන්න ඒවා කැතම කැතයි. ඉතින් ඒක නිසා දැන් මම wildlife විතරයි කරන්නේ. සමහරු ඉන්නවා multi talented. ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඕන දෙයක් කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් මගේ ස්පෙෂැලිටි එක මම wildlife විතරක් මට සමහර macro මම කරලා තියෙනවා. නමුත් wildlife තමයි
because you are critical, you just like your wildlife.
Exactly. Yeah. ඉතින් ඒ වගේ wildlife විතරක්ම කරන අය හරිම අඩුයි.
දැන් මේ wildlife photography කියන්නේ දැන් ගොඩක් කටිය Photoshop උත් පාවිච්චි කරනවානේ. කියන්නේ අපි මේ කියන්නේ ඉස්සරත් කතා කරලා තිබ්බා නැති සත්තුත් දානවා ඉතින්.
මෙහෙමයි wildlife වල golden rule එක තමයි. golden rule number 1. ඔයාට බෑ frame එක ඇතුලෙන් crop කරලා අයින් කරන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි element එකක් දාන්නත් බෑ. element එකක් අයින් කරන්නත් බෑ using only the Photoshop. You can crop.
but ඒක අඳුර ගන්න පුළුවන්.
පුළුවන්. මොකද දැන් මෙහෙමයි. නිකන් ඉදිරිපත් කිරීමකදී. ඒ කියන්නේ just the presentation you can't. If it is a competition, you have to submit the original file. So then you will get caught.
Right.
So most of the competitions in the world, if you get caught something like that, and you are banned for your life.
Wow.
Banned for life. If you do it with a bigger competition like the WPY, the other people will also follow. Other competitions, smaller competitions also will follow. Then you will get banned from everything. Something like that.
So, May awards වලට wildlife photography කියලා category එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒකේ වටිනාකම ගැන පොඩ්ඩක් කියන්න.
ඔව් දැන් ගනු අපි ඉන්න අපේ රට එකක් biodiversity එක පැත්තෙන් හරිම තැනක ඉන්න රටක් වගේම අනිත් පැත්තෙන් අපි හරිම critical වෙලාවක ඉන්නේ. මොකද lot of damages. It has been happening for long time. දැන් ඒක very level like සමහරවිට හිතනවා ඒක control කරන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා තවදුරටත්.
අනිත් එක wildlife animals disturbance
ඒක තමයි. ඉතින් ලංකාවේ ලොකුම ප්‍රශ්නයක් තමයි human elephant conflict එක. මම මෙතන දෙන්න හදන්නේ මොකද අපිට photography වලින් ගොඩාක් ලොකු දෙයක් කරන්න පුළුවන්, awareness හදන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම දැන් සමහර රටවල් වල දැන් උදාහරණයක් විදිහට අපි ගත්තොත් එහෙම රුවන්ඩා වල mountain gorilla population එක ගානකට survive වෙන්න ලොකු හේතුවක් වුණා ඒ රටවල් වලයි සහ පිටින් ගිය අය කරපු ෆොටෝග්‍රැෆි වලින් ආපු awareness එක පිට රටවල් වල. ඒ කියන්නේ WWF එකෙන් Wildlife Foundation ඒ වගේ ඒවායින් ආපු දැන් අපේ ලංකාවේ මමත් ඇතුළුව අපි තාම හරියට කන්සර්වේෂන් ෆොටෝග්‍රැෆි කරනවා මදි. හරිද? එතකොට මේ වයිල්ඩ් කිව්වහම වයිල්ඩ් එක සතෙක්ගේ ඇක්ෂන් එක විතරක් නෙවෙයි මේ ඩිස්ටර්බන්සස්. නේචර් එකත් එක්ක මිනිසුන්ගේ තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න සහ ඒ කෝඑක්සිස්ටන්ස් එක. ඔය ඔක්කොම අපිට ගන්න පුළුවන් වයිල්ඩ් ලයිෆ් එක. ඉතින් මේ වගේ කම්පිටිෂන් දැන් මේ අපි Ceylon photography was පළවෙනි වතාවට කරන්නේ. ඉතින් එතනදී වයිල්ඩ් ලයිෆ් කැටගරි එකක් දාපු එක very important එකක්. අපේ ලංකාව rich වයිල්ඩ් ලයිෆ් වලින්. එතකොට ඒක ලස්සන පෙන්වන්න පුළුවන්. අනික් අතට අපි දකින්න නැති පැත්ත තමයි අර වගේ ක්‍රයිසිස් එකක් වුණත් අපිට හොඳටම
highlight
කරලා
information එකක් එළියට
ගෙන්න පුළුවන්.
What a favorite animal එක මොකක්ද to take photographs?
කෙනෙක් කියන්න බෑ. නමුත් any cat from small to any cat from lions to cheetah, that's my favorite.
That's your favorite. Yeah. Okay. But in terms of experience out there on the field, what's the most interesting experience that you always have? You had like a close encounter with a cat?
I have had many. I've been to Africa many times, but I would say I was just 10 meters away from a polar bear in Arctics. Basically, I was on a boat. I have this shot, like one frame full of a polar bear, because that's the biggest land predator in the world. So you don't land on the ice if you see a polar bear, because you can't outrun him. And he doesn't attack you just because he feels threatened or anything. He sees us as a buffet, right? So he attacks
like
you.
Like Asian buffet.
Yeah, exactly. Different kind of. So he sees us basically the polar bears attack to eat.
Okay.
So no way.
ඒගොල්ලෝ මේ දවස්සේ හරි බඩගිනි.
ඔව්. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙහෙම කොහොමත් hibernation නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ කාලයක් නිදාගෙන ඉඳලා නැගිට්ටාම පුළුවන් තරම් කන්න ඕන. ඒකයි ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ කොහොමත් habitat loss එකක් තියෙනවා. And it happens very fast. ඒ habitat loss එක හින්දා මේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ කෑම තියෙන ප්‍රමාණයත් අඩු වෙගෙන යනවා. එතකොට හැබැයි බෝට් එකේ ඉන්නදී they won't attack you. They are very good swimmers. They can swim for about 35 kilometers at a stretch. හැබැයි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් වතුරේදී attack කරන්නේ. So I was just 10 meters away from him, looking at that 600 kilograms, huge, and like looking at him. I mean, he was looking at you. That's like the most unforgettable moment of my wildlife career. Like, I mean, different, because I was there like 12 days on a boat, on a ship. You have to go on an icebreaker. So that itself is a different experience. And
amazing. Now, me award ceremony එක වෙන්නේ ලංකාව වටේම. මේකේ වටිනාකම we have asked kids from across the island, people from across the island to what is your thought on it, because there are different categories, school level, there is wildlife, there is street photography. What is your take?
Yeah. Having a school category is the most important thing, because that's the future, and that's number one. And number two, when you look at it, like when you see in Colombo, you get photography clubs, you get facilities, and but when you go out, there are people I've seen. I tell this all the time. I've seen wildlife photographers who are from outside of Colombo, who use very basic lens and sometimes take better pictures than us. Where we use all the super telephotos and best cameras in the world, and there is this guy who comes with a very basic camera and a very basic lens and takes better shots than us. So there is a opportunity for everyone when you have something like this. That's important. And the school category, the thing is, still I think there are so many school categories in the photography competition in the country, but I haven't seen something at this level. They're pushing the limits, and then
professionals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
As somebody who's going to sit on the judging panel, what are the things that you're keeping in mind?
Well, I am actually, I'm basically concentrating on the wildlife. So one is originality, right? That's important. You should not copy someone else, right? What I think is you should always study the best photographers you can find. That's a different story. But you should not exactly, right? So that's originality, and then creativity. If you see someone doing, now I will give you one example, my personal experience. I took a photo of a Dalmatian pelican and cut it in half, exactly like this. right? And I was showing it to a friend of mine. I said, no, this is not going to work. So far it has won 4 international awards.
Oh.
Just this. Right?
Half of it.
Just half of the face. Because all I wanted to show, there is a color contrast also. You get a very bright lower mandible and you get a bright yellow eye patch here. So if you see the both, it's disturbing. I just want to have one yellow patch, one red patch, and then the feather patterns. It's a very beautiful feather pattern. So I just want to show that. So the creativity comes in a different forms. So you have to take everything and you have to think out of the box. So originality, creativity, and the other thing is the technical aspect, right? So these are the main things we are looking at. Out of which, I think the most important thing is the creativity.
So these are things to keep in mind, and at the same time, in terms of wildlife photography, do you think, as a Sri Lankan, for those who are living abroad and for those who might want to travel here, do you think we have it all for them to take pictures?
Of course. You get...
I wanted you to say, because it's so valuable as somebody who's out there.
I will tell you, this is the only place in the world where you can travel within 4 hours. Within 4 hours, you can see the biggest land animal in the world and the biggest, the ocean animal, the blue whale and the elephant within 4 hours. There is no place in the world you can do that, right? So that is the, and then you go to Yala, you get one of the best concentration of the leopards in the world. You go to a place like Mineria, you get one of the biggest natural wonders in the world, the elephant gathering. So you get so many things, and as a country which is an island, and a size of a very small size, you get 450 species of birds, the migrant birds, the residents, and so it's a
we are blessed.
Yeah, we are blessed. We are exactly.
So that means our wildlife photographers are actually blessed.
Exactly.
They have so much to take pictures of before they actually submit. But for those who are watching, just to let you know, Thagi dinannama kiyala hitagena hitiyot ඒකට වැඩිය මේ experience එක තමයි වටින්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ process එක එකකින් කොහොමද මේකින් අපිට දියුණු වෙන්න පුළුවන්, කොහොමද එක දේවල් ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා awards තියෙනවා 92ක් විතර දිනන්න. ඒක විතරක් නෙමෙයි 600,000 worth cash prize එකක් තියෙනවා. தமிழ்லேயும் சொல்ல வேணும் wildlife photography பற்றி தான் காட்சிட்டு இருக்கிறோம். அது மட்டும் இல்ல இலங்கையில 4 மணி நேரத்துக்கு இடையில உங்களுக்கு யானையில இருந்து தண்ணிக்கு இருக்கிற ஒரு மிருகத்தையும் பார்க்கலாம். இப்படியான அதிசயங்கள் இருக்கிற இந்த நாட்டில் வைல்ட் லைஃப் ஃபோட்டோகிராஃபிக்கு எங்களுக்கு சரியான லேசாக கட்டாயம் எங்களுக்கு படங்கள் எடுக்கிறதுக்கு வாய்ப்பு இருக்குது. அது மட்டும் இல்லை, நீங்கள் உங்களோட என்ட்ரிஸ் அனுப்புங்க. 92 கிட்ட அவார்ட்ஸ் இருக்குது, 6 லட்சத்துக்கிட்ட பர்த்தான ப்ரைஸஸ் இருக்குது வின் பண்ணுறதுக்கு. கணக்கு கேட்டகரிஸ் இருக்குது. வைல்ட் லைஃப்பை விரும்புகிற உங்களுக்கு இது ஒரு கிரேட் ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி. ஆஸ் வைல்ட் லைஃப் ஃபோட்டோகிராஃபி இஸ் நாட் யோர் ஓன்லி திங். You also have a I find it as a very interesting job.
Yeah.
A tea taster.
Exactly.
So you don't get to eat a lot of stuff, right?
It's like this, you can, but what happens is when you do that over a period of time, you lose the taste buds. So that's the issue.
So then
you can have a little bit of spice and all, no problem. But if you have a lot of spice food for a long time, then
you lose the
taste.
But it's a very interesting job, right? Being a tea taster.
It's an interesting job, yeah.
What would you choose if you have only one thing to do?
You mean
ultimatum?
Ultimatum, the
wildlife photography?
I will go for the wildlife photography. Okay. Exactly.
Then you can eat spice as well.
Yeah.
But this is the reason why we're talking about this is people from all walks of industries can actually apply. You don't need to be a professional photographer. We have people from all industries taking part. So even if you're not a professional, we want the most raw amateurs who have the most creative eye to come forward. That's the most important thing. As a judge, I'm sure you're going to give so much in terms of what is going to be out there. There's also a most popular award, which is going to be on popularity. So that may be very different to your eyes to what the people will see. So I can't wait to see it. What is your new project, especially with the lockdown situation? What have you been?
Actually, I had to cancel 4 very important trips last year. One to Antarctic, one to Alaska, and 2 other things. So but you can't
change the world.
Change the world. That is, you have to take. This is the new what do you call it? The new
normal.
New normal. Yeah. So I've been trying to get, because I didn't attempt a lot of my macro and those kind of things. So I'm trying those things now, and I'm traveling around the country a bit. I'm going to Mena, I'm going to Japan. I just want to cover a little bit of the north side of the country,
right?
Because that is one place you get a lot of migrant birds.
Amazing. And our north is also entering this competition, so that means there's more opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So those are the new things. As soon as the government is allowing us to travel, I can't wait to go out and do something.
You'll be one of those migrant birds.
Of course, of course.
All right. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
So make sure you send in your entries, and we wish you all the very best.